on both sides in some sense, but would probably think that I've done you wrong, because you find yourself in this harsh environment that allows me to exploit you. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is what we can call injustice between workers, which is that only some categories of workers can afford, individually can afford to take low-paid or unpaid apprenticeships. The young, single, childless, and often fairly wealthy, or at least middle class. I mean, there were no student loans for farm worker apprenticeships. So generally those without obligations and those with the ability to have some sort of backup support that have these opportunities available to them. And if part of the labor market depends on going through these internships, I mean, there are some fields, like think of the media industry, where basically you have to be upper middle class to end up with a good job in the media industry, because internships have become practically a de facto requirement for getting a paid job in this industry, and only the upper middle class can afford internships. So this can actually increase economic inequality. Issue number three, I think, connects to the ideal of sustainability that drives this conference. You know, if we think that the basic idea of sustainability is to take into account the long-term view, the interests of future generations in living well, and also the true interests in this generation in living well along multiple dimensions, along the idea of a real quality of life, then in a way what we're doing when we say that unpaid or low-paid apprenticeships are okay is we're saying that it's okay to sacrifice the quality of life for workers in order to enhance the quality of life of other people by permitting these more sustainable operations to go on. And that seems to be inconsistent, at least to my mind, with a full appreciation of the ideal of sustainability that I know it drives a lot of what's going on behind conferences like this. So that's sort of my 10-second, or I guess 12-minute overview of the issues that I see on a highly abstract level surrounding this. And we'll come back to some of these, but first I want to hand the floor over to Emily for her more down-to-earth view of things, as it were.
After listening to him, it may have been better that I kind of give you a picture of what an apprenticeship might look like, and then he can go into that. But keep everything that he said in mind.
I'll remind you, don't worry.
Let's see. To make it short, if I just read this, would it be really boring? Or it's just something that I read or wrote, and it's my experience on the farm, but it's trying to encapsulate a year and a half on a piece of paper. So I'll read it, and without trying to be mundane or boring. Okay. I've been living and working at La Milpa Organica for a year and a half, or a year and 4 months. With no farming experience, my intention from the beginning was to understand the growing seasons here in San Diego, learn how to cultivate produce, and to better understand a small-scale organic farming operation, which La Milpa is. This farm has given me the opportunity to explore many aspects of the lifestyle and business of organic farming and a growing local food community, which you are all included in. So that's been something that kind of exceeded my expectations, is it opening this door to even a larger community, and a larger farming community in a whole. My responsibilities include overseeing the greenhouse and planting schedules, managerial tasks including restaurant and market sales and distribution, community outreach and education, farm tours, tastings, and what is most important to me, working in the field, clearing, planting, cultivating, some harvesting, irrigation, tractor work, etc. So the actual farming of it all. I'm part of a very informal operation, meaning that there is no formal structure, which lends itself to hardworking and self-motivated people of all ages, and what I've seen from first-hand experience also, to all social or socio-economic kind of people, like from different socioeconomic statuses, like, so what he talked about is that I might exclude those people, but I've seen all people be included in that. So The only downside to this style of operation is that it does create many gaps in communication, inefficiencies, and it really shifts the workload to those that are willing to take it on and see the farm as a priority for sustenance and for stability, because we do pride ourselves in being a community as well, and intentional and embracing diversity and those sorts of things, but lots of things also do take, even though they are good, they take time away from the thrust of it, what it is that we do, and that is farming. So it really does sift through the people that are willing to put the hard work, or the time and the hard work in, without that structure. My experience has allowed me to understand food and wellness with an entirely new dimension. Though my interest had been in nutrition before coming to the farm, I have learned a more holistic approach to health, such as observing siesta and resting to compensate the more labor-intensive and hard work of farming. And so that those routines that I've created in my life have given me a way to kind of embrace health on a whole new level that I didn't otherwise even know was necessary. I've learned the importance of putting intention into the food that I'm preparing, whether I'm making cheese from our goat milk, fermenting vegetables to increase intestinal flora and good bacteria, or making a big pot of hearty vegetable soup with fresh ingredients that I have helped grow. Being on the farm has helped me open my eyes to the connection people once had with food, and the positive, healthy, all of which is mental, physical, and spiritual consequences that follow this connection that you can have with your food. Okay, because we do direct market our product at 4 local farmers markets and direct to restaurants, the transactions that we make are really dependent upon the relationships that we have with our customers. And volunteering, farmers markets, and monthly potlucks, that which most of you probably know about, and every 3rd Saturday of the month, give us a really unique opportunity to develop these relationships and put a face on and reveal the intention behind the food that we are growing and selling to those people. So it's a kind of a special dynamic. I have come to accept that what I am a part of is not necessarily a good business, but an arena for conversation, good food, hard work, and a chance for freedom just to be and to grow as an individual. And my hope is that this opportunity that I've been involved in can continue in a fair and just way for everyone who wants to go back to the land and explore an alternative lifestyle versus the more convenient, less central routines of life that most of us might experience maybe in a cubicle or in a 9-to-5 job, or I can't imagine myself in one of those. But I mean, it's just temperaments and personalities, and so this is just, sometimes we can't see other options or other opportunities for alternative kind of ways of work and living, and this has given me the first-hand experience to that alternative, or an alternative. And I'll sum it up saying, though farming is romanticized in our community and nation today, and I think it still is, we're learning, I think we're taking steps to realizing, what farming really is, the small and the big, between all the atrocities of factory farming to, maybe the small, more subtle exploitation that happens on all scales of farming. There are many challenges that are present today, and my thoughts are we must talk about immigration rights and liberties for everybody. We must talk about small farmer rights that cannot survive on the same economical scales as large conventional or factory farms. Therefore, I am like the economical, conflict that you mentioned, that it's hard, we're in a hard market as it is, to survive. So expectations and communication needs to be open and clear, especially when integrating a dynamic workforce, that is employees, apprentices, whatever you want to call it. All business ethics are applied, and I think that's something that should be talked about. Know what is expected of you and communicate what your expectations are. So this is if you're inquiring about an apprenticeship program, or if you're an employee. And I was given this suggestion, and I've seen how important it actually is, and that is to talk to the group or the farm or the institution or the school, whatever it may be, the program, about what it is you're getting yourself into and talk about what you can realistically